big statement as we go to Georgia State and Coastal Carolina.
Yeah, big trip back on the road. It's not going to be easy. It's actually going to be a really, really tough trip for us. We play on their education day at Georgia State, so it's going to be tough. 11 o'clock start for us, and then we go that night to Coastal and play there in a gym I think we lost in last year, so that'll be tough as well. And so hopefully we can survive it and then get back home.
You think the word's out now? Everybody's seen how fast start you have, so you think the word's out now on her basketball with these coaches?
I hope so. I hope so. You don't really know what it's like until you play it. And so I think that gives us a little bit of a leg up, at least the first time around we play teams. And that's why the last 3 games were so important, because we only got to play those teams once. So we don't get a second crack at them. And so those were big wins for us.
It's still early, but can you consider yourself the hunter instead of the hunter?
No, it's 3 games in, very, very small sample size. Until we play the top dogs, we're not going to get too high. And had we lost, we're not going to get too low. We've been both. I've seen our floor, and it is low. So we're just going to keep taking it one game at a time.
Now, how do you manage that with your team? You see that success, and they got to be feeling good about themselves, but how do you manage those expectations?
Yeah, that's hard because you don't want to crush them. You still want to teach from the good as well as teach from the bad. I think we live in a world where there's so much outside noise and so many other people on the internet and their parents and the crowd telling them how great they are, and then they sometimes need to come into practice and say, hey, you got to stay hungry. We still have to get better. We have to cut our turnovers down. We got to start winning the rebounds, find some things. And so we usually do that through film. And we're going to watch film here in about 15 minutes, and most of it's going to be stuff we need to clean up. Some of it will be good. We'll always try to end on a high note, and then we'll go right into practice and try to fix those things.
Where have you improved the most this season, you think, so far?
Our bench. Yeah. I mean, when early on, if our top 2 players had a bad night, we had a bad night, and now we have anyone that can step up. And our bench is getting a lot better, and people are playing more confident and more comfortably, and it's a lot more fun when it's a balanced offensive attack.
As you feel like that pressure, even if it doesn't manifest itself early, later it just wears them down. And even your team knows that you don't expect maybe to get automatic turnovers and steals and buckets the other way, but then it sort of just ends up being like that because that pressure's relentless.
Right. And so if you have the nights like South Alabama where you are getting the live ball steals and you are scoring off of them, but some nights you have games like Florida and you break them in the last 2 minutes. And so it can look different, but we try to talk about it like a boxing match. It's relentless pressure, and eventually, we're going to hopefully come out on top, and the other team will break. And it may be in the first quarter, it may be in the last 60 seconds, but our hope is it'll happen at some point.
So how do you teach that patience? Young kids usually
Yeah.
aren't real patient.
We talk about it. Usually I'll have it on the scout. It's going to take 4 quarters, or is it like our last game, it's going to be a game of runs, and we may go up, they may go up. And so we'll usually talk about it before the game, and then we'll talk about it almost at every timeout and at halftime.
How do you maintain that intensity? With the success you're having early on in conference play, how do you keep that intensity where you want it?
Yeah, it's difficult. It's really, really difficult because we have an effort-based system, and so you can't just show up. I think we've learned that early, that you can't just show up and play this style of play, and teams are going to just hand you the ball and let you go score. But it has to be on the practice floor. It has to be. We still coach everything the same way when we were winning, when we were losing, and now that we're winning, we're still being consistent with what we coach and what we discipline and what we need to clean up.
Early in the season, a lot of the work is on what you guys do, right? And then you get advanced with the season. Are you at the point where now you're looking at what the other team does more, or are you still looking at what you guys do?
Mondays are usually us days, and then Tuesdays and Wednesdays, Thursdays, Fridays are our opponents. And so we'll try to keep that routine as much as we can. But yeah, today will be a fix us day, and then we'll get into the scout, learning the other team's plays, everything like that.
Coach, was there a specific time, or have you seen it yet, where you've noticed the complete buy-in of your system? Has it happened yet?
I don't know that it's happened yet. I don't know as a coach if you ever really think it does. And I think that that's one thing that I don't know that I'll ever really think that it does. And I think that maybe a reason why we've been successful over the years is you're always trying to recruit your own players. And with this day and age, you know, you're always trying to have conversations with them. You're always trying to recruit them. You're always trying to love on them and tell them what they could do better and tell them what they're doing great. And I try to walk into practice every day and still try to recruit my own kids.
Thanks.
Thank you, guys.